recording in progress. Karl, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks very much for having me.
And so, Karl, just tell listeners a little bit about yourself and how you came to found Revolancer.
Sure. So when I was like about 13 years old, I decided that I wanted to be my own boss. I didn't have any idea how to pull that off. So I started by Googling how to make money online. I then came across freelancing. I joined a few freelancing platforms, kind of quickly realized that these platforms just weren't kind of suited to the modern way of working, weren't really fair to freelancers. So I then went off and kind of did my own thing. So I started a small agency and worked on a couple of other projects. But kind of in my final year of university, we were in the middle of the COVID pandemic. We had a lockdown in the UK at the time. And just out of curiosity, because I knew I wanted to start a business, I was looking at these freelancing platforms that I had used 8 years or so before then, and realized they hadn't changed a thing. And that includes banning video calling. So obviously still very unfriendly to modern day kind of remote work. So that's when I had the idea for Revolancer.
That's incredible. And just to give a little bit of context to listeners, when you were on these platforms, what were you freelancing for? Was this in software engineering? Tell me about that.
Sure. So initially it was graphic design, and then I taught myself a bit of web development and web design as well. So I started doing that too.
Gotcha. So again, you saw these gaps in the marketplace for freelancers. You wanted to solve for that yourself. What was it like getting that, business off the ground and taking that first step?
Well, I saw that my university had a sort of a startup pitching competition where you could win some seed money. So basically, I spent the next 3 months or so, really learning everything I could about the competition, really refining my pitch, learning who the judges were, looking into who I was going up against, like really obsessively kind of, looking around this competition. I was then fortunate enough to win both of the main prizes and kind of used that plus all the preparation I did to, kick things off.
Wow, that's incredible. So you definitely had that support from the onset. What was it like taking the next steps, with those funds? And, how is Revolancer giving freedom back to freelancers today?
Sure. Well, initially I kind of started working with a couple of co-founders. We prioritized kind of, actually building the platform and getting that out there, and getting a few initial users before we then raised our pre-seed round a few months later. But ultimately, the way we're giving freedom back to freelancers is we don't charge commission fees, whereas the industry standard is 25% on every transaction. Seriously, yeah.
That's outrageous.
It really is. So and the other problem is any level of commission, especially if it's high, but any level of commission on a platform like that, you have to stop people from video calling and emailing and having a phone call and so on, because then they can arrange to pay outside the platform and you never make any money again from them. So because we don't charge commissions, we can and do allow things like video calling and exchange of contact details to take place. And we also have a skills and service exchange, which no other platform does, sort of a credit-based skills and service exchange, which freelancers are really taking to.
Wow, that's incredible. And again, this, customer user base so well because you were one. So I think that's definitely been advantageous for you with your build out. So what stages are you in today with Revolancer and what are your goals down the line?
Sure. So today we have more than 75,000 users on the platform, which is really exciting. We're also, just as of yesterday, we opened our seed round. So we're now starting our seed raise.
Congratulations.
And yeah, thank you very much. And just very excited to kind of see where we go next. It's a very big space, a very fast growing space. And I think we're going to give the big players a run for their money.
Oh, certainly, especially again with the actual freelancers in mind, which I think is really exciting. So tell me a little bit about that fundraising process. So you just opened your round. How is it going so far? Is it, again, it's very in nascent stages, it sounds like, but I'm sure some conversations have been going on.
Yes, I mean, it's going pretty good. It's not my first time doing this. So
Okay.
I kind of already spent a couple of months preparing and kind of, having some initial conversations, putting everything together that we might need. So yesterday I already had my first investor call. We already have some funds committed to the round, which is very exciting.
Congratulations. That's
Um,
amazing.
Thanks. And then essentially, now just continuing to speak to more existing investors about top ups, which I know there's some interest for, and then speaking to new investors as well, and then eventually kind of bringing contacting a fund to be our lead investor, and then close the round.
That's so exciting. Congratulations. Do you have any advice to share with other founders, whether it be about the actual, launch of a startup, building your company, or about fundraising itself?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, with fundraising, I think the key thing that people get wrong, and this is the same with really any kind of sales,
Yeah.
is you have to really understand your audience, and you have to kind of make it about them, and you
Yeah.
have to find the right audience. So, for example, I worked much harder to get what was about 15,000 USD or so from this university competition. I worked much harder, and the competition was much stiffer than raising investment that's orders of magnitude higher afterwards. And the reason why is kind of because you have to approach people who have already decided that they're going to invest a certain amount of money into startups. So you're not convincing someone to kind of take their checkbook out. They're going to be writing checks anyway, but you just have to convince them that you are a good sort of candidate for where to put that money. So a big part of raising investment is just really finding the right people and then speaking to them, and then presenting things in a way that they want to see, reading between the lines when they ask questions. So kind of making sure you give them all the information that they actually want, and then it's at that point it's just a numbers game. But you can really improve your odds if you follow those first few steps.
Yeah, I love the way that you're, framing this as a sale, because in a lot of ways it is, and meeting, I guess, the customer where they are and understanding your customer, I think, is the most important part.
Absolutely. One of my advisors actually early on, he told me a quote which I thought was so funny. He said that raising investment is one of the hardest types of sales because you're selling a dream and a piece of paper for a lot of money.
Yeah, ain't that the truth? But seriously, you've shown, so much traction and demonstrated so much traction. So I think you, are a little bit more tangible than most dreams.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly come a long way.
Yes.
We started kind of as like a dorm room project, and we're now a more and more kind of serious company, day by day.
Well, it's really exciting to see, Karl, and I'm so excited to see where you go next. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to join me today.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for having me.